Yes, today I've been allowed moments of where I haven't been drugged up and all the rest of it. And I thought to myself, all of a sudden, I wouldn't mind a McDonald's. So I ordered a McDonald's. First delivery guy, if that's what he was, you never know these days. I sort of had to explain via the messaging service of the Uber Eats service. We all know the sketch by now. And sure enough, the sketch went the way you'd expect it to go, sort of thing. Anyway, I had to wait for a second delivery guy. I had to order again. I've yet to get receipt, a refund from the first order from Uber. The ad agency will decide whether I get a refund or not. I'm in no rush. But yeah. So anyway, these are the things. Oh yeah, and we know all the type of stuff that goes on around food times that if they think that's science. I Anyway, and then another thing happened where I was watching a video, and you get the type of semiotics that you get that we should all know. Not only the science behind such things, but notions of care and notions of power involved in all that. Also, trying to look into Polish culture, Slavic culture. Again, they set up these scenarios. Again, they drug me up off the back of them. And it's sort of, yet again another indication of how they do things. And later on, after all, I got McDonald's. Really nice, a really interesting psychological response to it as well. That was quite I didn't expect. But anyway, it's sort of I sort of figured, hang on a sec. There's been something going. One of the things that's been going on lately is how like it was on the ward in 2000, on the psychiatric ward in 2000, where they'd been built up by the architects and their people to build me up into some sort of country bumpkin, and that's the way that was the subject position I was perceived as. Then all of a sudden, it turns out I'm the opposite of the country bumpkin, the subject position of the country bumpkin, and sort of neither was true, and it's sort of indicative. Well, it sort of reminds me, but back then reminds me of what's been going on. And what was sort of engineered between 2016, 2024, 2025 about South Asians. That there was this big deal around South Asians that we all know now, or we should know, is total bollocks. The only interest I had in any of that, any issue to do with South Asians, was questioning why were so many people, certain people, why were so many of them so easily taken in by the advertising going on around 96 to 2000. That sort of pretty much pieced it together. But also there was the vibe of these people that sort of didn't allow, like we saw this morning, through different methods, but didn't really was not receptive to independent thought. And sort of the snowball effect led to a bandwagon effect that everyone went with at the time. It's like, well, there you go. Look at that. All of a sudden, the South Asian stuff turns out to have been total bullshit. They were building himself up into. And like they'd even got, or it seems that they'd even got a prominent American politician who sort of they were trying to tie in with that sort of thing. So maybe when I started saying what the situation really was, they all sat there and went, "Oh, that's anyway." Anyway, that is quite funny. But anyway, now like with the subject position on the psychiatric ward in 2000, the subject position of the country bumpkin becomes the subject position of the opposite, where neither is the case. So we get the problematization or the medicalization or whatever of or the kidology or whatever around notions of me being not only more influenced by Slavic culture and Polish culture, but more interested in it as time goes on. And it's like, and yet again, there we go. Again, it's like that ties in with Englishness as well. But I do find those things interesting. But there you go. It's like, did they sit there, these people, the Americans and the British, and whoever else, and go about the South Asians, and go, oh, because you could only go a day. Seeing South Asians all over the place around here. But anyway, that was the way it was. Anyway, like I said about the semiotics and all the stuff that goes on. Not only do we know the type of mind games, type of kidology that goes on, and all the rest of it, but we also know the science behind that type of stuff, don't we? Or we should. We all should by now. It's stunts that have been pulled countless times before. And again, by looking at it from the vantage point of being in the post amalgam years, for me, just looking at how now the situation the heads of the ad agency are in mean that they can't really get rid of that power from the town anymore, even though I'm not fucking interested. I couldn't give a fuck about the ad campaign. As far as I'm concerned, I want to go for my coffee in town now and again. I'd like to order takeaway food now and again. Now that I'm getting more to myself, I'm not prepared to play the game of the fucking bloke who just doesn't say, fuck off, I want my food, I want my fucking coffee. Do you know what I mean? That's it. That's how you should be. Instead of all this ad campaign going on left, right and centre, and all the rest of it. But anyway, maybe even off the back of that, because not least when I started talking about independent thought earlier, I started getting drug-ins. And that is how stuck with this power these people are, the heads of the ad agency. You've nagged the shit out of me. I'm bored shitless of you, and I'm not fucking interested. Like I said, and we'll get all this type of stuff. Come on. Every time it becomes obvious, like with Turn the Page and the shenanigans that went on, the shenanigans and the drug-ins that went into a big effort as some sort of stunts yesterday. They're only going to regenerate it again and start with all that crap again, time and time again. That is what they're stuck with, the heads of the ad agency. I could, and all that. But anyway, you look at this stuff and you think, here we fucking go again. And it's just like, they're stuck with it in the town. They're stuck with having put themselves into a position where, and ultimately looking at the way the scenario went at the end of my time at the hospital, they sort of put themselves in that position, haven't they? Even though I don't know what whoever's watching this has been told about all that type of stuff. But yeah, like I say, the semiotics and all the rest of it, But now we all know the science behind it. We all know about notions of care, power, all the rest of it, subject positions, suggestions, and so on and so forth. It's all pretty boring stuff, isn't it? But this is the next things. So yeah, so I got me McDonald's. Really enjoyed it. It was really nice. I pretty much know how, it's similar to what's gone on before, isn't it? When I order food, it's obvious that shit's going to be pulled around that and so on and so forth. It would be nice to get my food. But anyway, that's the way it is. I may start getting McDonald's once or twice a week. I was thinking about a Burger King, but no. First off, they like go all over the place, and they're not as nice as McDonald's by far. But yeah, looked up for some chinkies. Wouldn't mind chicken fried rice, curry sauce and chips one of the days. Unlike on the psychiatric ward, I will be able to have half of it in the evening, half of it in the morning. Because on the psychiatric ward, they'd throw it away, throw the leftovers from the evening meal away, so I couldn't have it in the morning. This health and safety type stuff. But here I can do that. And, the shenanigans and all that means I might get diarrhea off the back of that, but I like the taste of it. If they're going to do that, well, there's not a lot anyone can do about that. That's the position they put themselves in. But yeah, so that's interesting, isn't it? All these attempts, like not least with the turn the page check, and yesterday's stuff. Chances are that's going to continue. That was brought to the town by the architects. That type of focus and sense of drama and all the rest of it. I can't see that going away. To me, that should be dealt with. Should have been dealt with by the architects. That adverts are brought to me. It's just a case of not fucking interested at all in the slightest. But again, these people, because they're stuck with the power they've got, they will, just like they did with turn the page check, like they did yesterday, like they did on the ward, like Wayne Good did at my house. By now, we all know the sketch. By now, as I texted the apparent Uber delivery guy. The second Uber delivery guy apparently had an Audi A3. Who is going to be able to afford a car like that? Who works for a food delivery company? That's what I want to know. But anyway, that's the way it is, I suppose. Yeah. So yeah, started using my Ring doorbell. Because I can't be bothered answering the phone, answering the door to Stooges, and representatives of the ad agency. Unfortunately, I can't do that with my Tesco delivery. Even though it would be nice, like, to be able to do that, you can't. But anyway, yeah. So yeah. So, I wonder if they did all sit there in America and Britain. And when I came out with that stuff, after all that palaver around South Asians that went on for years and years, I thought, and they'd been trying to build up, I'm guessing, into some sort of denouement, that they thought, oh. I don't fucking know. That struck me this afternoon. That's pretty funny. But that's the way it is. Like I said, their instincts now, I think, seem to be that they'll just run around and try to get things going again and try to build things up into some big scenario and all the rest of it. When I'm just not interested, and it's just like, I suppose in a way, even though I do respond sometimes, but that tends to be off the back of drug-ins. But again, still just pointing out the machinations rather than getting consumed with them. Just getting on with it. But yeah. For instance, the first Uber delivery guy made a great point of wearing a football shirt. Haven't I said recently that I got really bored? I got so bored of football that I don't even watch it anymore. I'm not even interested in football. Like, they got some kids to, almost certainly got some kids to bounce the football around yesterday. And it's like, I got bored of that fucking ages ago. They were pulling those stunts on the psychiatric ward. And it didn't have any effect then. But anyway, I'm being drugged up for this video, as we know by now. But yeah, anyway. It's an ad campaign, and they're stuck. Like I said, they're stuck with their power. They'll just keep going. That's part of Hollywood type thinking. They'll keep going on with it, because Hollywood thinking sort of implies, sort of Hollywood thinking, I'm guessing they've got, sort of implies there may be some denouement, some sort of denouement. I can't see it myself. Now, all I can see is them running around time and time again, trying to build things up, and then it don't really go anywhere. Like the examples I've pointed out. I'm pretty bored of it, but whatever floats your boat, sort of thing. But yeah. So in sum total, I would have liked to have spent today reading. I'm going to give it a go in a bit. I'm going to have a curry later. It's 10 to 5 in the early evening. I'll have a curry later. Anyway, the things you have to go through. Oh, yeah, I did mention Uber Eats hasn't given me a refund. Has been told not to give me a refund. If they were ever an independent company anyway. I don't know. How can so many people be not even roped into a bullshit scenario like this? I actually really believe so much of it. Like I said, if you want to really observe all this with any critical sense, you just sort of take a step back, even though it doesn't always appear like that from me. You sort of take a step back and you just see the science behind it, like I said, those different elements to it. Attempts also, like you get suggested by Foucault, of attempts at policing, so eventually you're self-policing. I think it's all worthy, and I'm sure. But to me, it's so fucking boring. It's so fucking yesteryear. It's so fucking just like misrepresentative of how a guy whose idyllic life is just kicking back and reading a book and just enjoying his day. That's even that stuck with the power that they've got, that they're stuck with, can almost not be allowed to happen. And it sort of does tie in with the architects. Oh yeah, another thing I forgot. I had a blue tit flying they trained a blue tit to fly around and then fly out. And I said, "Is that you, Auntie?" The character I mean, who in about 98, I'd guess, stood on my doorstep, hyped up to the nines, shaking her tits all over the place, like really excited about, this was the one whose son was Mr. Boyhood turned Mr. Babby Ass to Mr. Dynamic, who tried to tell me how to sit in 2000 in town. And you sort of realise, hang on a sec, They're trying to turn her into the archetype of the homely British aunt, English aunt. And I'm thinking, are you having a fucking laugh? But anyway, I suppose people change, and that might be the case that she's going for. I don't see it myself personally. I see it as really that being an attempt to manufacture for people to try and manufacture some sort of sanitized Hollywood type outcome. She should just accept, I think, what she got roped into and why she was so receptive to it, which is sort of ties in with what I said earlier about looking at the sort of influences from South Asia early on. This is going way back to about 2000, 2001, I think, or 2002, to see why were these people so easily roped into it, into all that crap. But anyway, I just said to the blue tip, Auntie Pat, is that you? That was about it. And another thing. There was this guy on the phone the other day. I got the impression from the girl at the coffee shop that she was really freaked. That they, because we know this word. But anyway, the heads of the ad agency were tripping about me saying about this guy called Jack at a guy apparently called Jack at a supposed advocacy service in Worcester, was trying to act all like the man and all this, and which I thought was pretty funny and pretty ridiculous. But so this is the way things can go, and they may have been tripping about me saying that. Well, hang on a sec. I've already pointed out in this room. Not only, it sort of suggests there ain't any such thing as an advocacy service in the face of the type of powers that are going on around what has been going on, to me, it sort of suggests that the whole mental health act in Britain needs to be rewritten around the type of stunts that people like the architects and their mates can pull off. That won't be listened to, I don't think. If people have got to the stage where everything that goes on, and they try to rerun things time and time again, with maybe these Hollywood notions that there will be some sort of Hollywood outcome, sort of like Johnny and Baby, and Happily Ever After and all that in 2000. If that's what's driving them, if that's sort of in the deeper remnants of their brains and all the rest of it, then yeah. But to me, it's just one big fucking crazy ad campaign that with debatable science from what's primarily centered with what's primarily a belief system that was co-opted by another belief system. Anyway, that's me letting off a bit of hot air, and I don't mind doing it. There will be people who will say, you can't say that about our archetypical English aunt and all that. And I'd just say, well, actually, yeah, I can.